I know exactly how you feel. That sticky, stubborn phlegm sitting in the back of your throat, the constant clearing, that urge to cough it out right in the middle of a conversation, a meeting, or even in the silence of your own home. It's maddening. And if you've been dealing with it for weeks, months, maybe even years, you know what I mean. No matter how many times you swallow, cough, or drink a glass of water, it just keeps coming back. You've probably tried everything: ginger and lemon teas, syrups that promise to break up the mucus, gallons of water. And sure, maybe you got a few minutes of relief, but then it returned, just as thick and just as frustrating. You lie down at night, and there it is, triggering that dry tickle that steals your sleep. You wake up in the morning, and the first thing you do is race to the bathroom to clear a throat that never truly feels clear. It's exhausting. And it makes you wonder, what is wrong with me? Why isn't anything working? Here's what most people don't know, and what you've probably never been told in a rushed doctor's visit: that phlegm is almost never a respiratory problem. It's not a lingering cold. It's not just allergies. It is a distress signal. Your throat is literally crying out for help. As a physician, I see this every single day in my practice. Patients come in desperate, convinced they have a chronic infection or some mysterious condition, when the reality is something entirely different. And the reason nothing has worked for you is because you've been attacking the symptom, not the actual cause. You've been mopping up the floor without turning off the faucet. Stay with me, because in this video, I'm not going to hand you another home remedy that falls short. I'm going to show you who the real culprit is. I'm going to introduce you to the silent enemy hiding inside your own body. And most importantly, I'm going to give you a clear, practical, step-by-step plan to disarm it and finally breathe easy again. I promise you, the solution is much simpler than you think once you understand what you're actually fighting. Before we go any further, I want to hear from you. Drop a comment and tell me where in the world you're watching from and how long you've been dealing with this. You are not alone, and your experience helps all of us. Now, before I reveal the real culprit, we need to clear the air, not just your throat, but the bad information that's been keeping you stuck in a cycle of remedies that don't work. If any of these sound familiar, it's because you've probably fallen into one of these traps. Myth number 1. I have a cold or the flu that just won't go away. This is always the first guess. You have phlegm, you're clearing your throat. Sounds like a cold, right? The problem is that a common cold caused by a virus has a life cycle. It runs its course in 7, 10, maybe 15 days at most, and it usually comes with nasal congestion, sneezing, body aches, sometimes a fever. But what you have is different. Your phlegm has been there for weeks or months without any of those other symptoms. If you've been dealing with this for more than 3 or 4 weeks, you can be almost certain it is not a virus. It's chronic, not acute. Myth number 2. It must be some kind of unusual allergy. This is the second stop on the tour. You think about dust, pollen, dust mites, your pet's dander, and yes, allergies can cause post-nasal drip, that sensation of mucus sliding down the back of your throat. But allergies follow patterns. They get worse in certain seasons or around specific triggers, and they respond to antihistamines. If you've tried allergy medication and your phlegm is still right there, or if you suffer year-round without any seasonal pattern, then the allergy is probably not the root cause. It might be a contributing factor, but it is not the source. Myth number 3. It's from smoking or air pollution. Smoking and polluted air do irritate the airways. The body, to protect itself, produces extra mucus to trap those harmful particles. That's a fact. If you smoke, that is absolutely a significant factor. But in my practice, I see hundreds of patients who have never smoked a day in their lives, who live in areas with perfectly clean air, and they still suffer from this relentless phlegm. For them, and likely for you, this explanation simply doesn't go far enough. Myth number 4. I'm just getting older. It's normal. It's true that with age, our tissues change, and mucous membranes can become drier, making phlegm feel thicker. But let me be very direct with you. Living with constant throat clearing is not a normal part of aging. It is not something you should have to accept. It is a symptom of an imbalance, and like any symptom, it has a cause that can and should be treated. Normalizing chronic discomfort is one of the worst mistakes we can make with our health. So if it's not a cold, not allergies, not the environment, and not just age, then what is it? Where is this uninvited guest in your throat actually coming from? The answer, for the vast majority of people, is going to surprise you. Because the problem doesn't start where you think it does. Not in your lungs, not in your nose. The origin of your throat problem is in your stomach. The enemy I'm talking about is a thief that works in the night, a silent saboteur. Its technical name is Laryngopharyngeal Reflux, LPR, but I prefer to call it silent reflux. Now, when you hear the word reflux, you probably think of heartburn, that burning sensation rising up through your chest. But here's the critical distinction. Silent reflux is different. The majority of people who have it, more than 50%, feel absolutely no heartburn at all, zero burning. That's why it's called silent. And that's exactly why it's so difficult to diagnose. Think of your stomach as a pressure cooker filled with gastric acid, a highly corrosive liquid whose job is to break down your food. Between your stomach and your esophagus, there's a valve, a muscle called the lower esophageal sphincter. Its job is simple: open to let food pass, then seal tightly so acid can't escape. Now, what happens when that valve doesn't close properly? It can be triggered by what you eat, by chronic stress, by excess weight. During the day, gravity helps keep everything in place, but the problem starts the moment you lie down. And here is the revelation. It doesn't take a gush of liquid acid to cause the damage. What rises is far more subtle and far more damaging. A fine acid mist, a toxic vapor that drifts silently up your esophagus while you sleep, without you ever knowing it's happening. This mist is so fine that it slips past the second valve at the top of the esophagus and reaches an exquisitely sensitive, completely unprotected area, your larynx, where your vocal cords live, and your pharynx, the back of your throat. Unlike your stomach, your throat was never designed to handle acid. It's like letting a cloud of corrosive chemicals settle onto a rose petal. The result is a chemical burn, night after night after night. And now, the final piece of the puzzle. What is the phlegm? That phlegm you hate so much is not the problem. It is your body's solution. It is your throat's desperate attempt to protect itself from that chemical assault. Feeling burned by the acid vapor, your throat does the only thing it can to defend itself. It produces a thick layer of mucus. That phlegm is a shield, a protective coating. It is your body trying to put out a fire. That is why syrups don't work. That is why teas don't fix anything at the root. You're trying to remove the shield without stopping the attacker. And the throat clearing, that's your attempt to wipe away the shield. But because the assault continues, your body simply makes more. Over and over, a vicious, exhausting cycle. But the story doesn't end there. That acid vapor doesn't travel alone. It carries a stowaway, a secret weapon called pepsin. Pepsin is a stomach enzyme whose entire purpose is to break down protein in food. Think of it as a microscopic Pac-Man designed to devour protein molecules. With silent reflux, this enzyme travels up with the acid vapor and becomes embedded in the lining of your throat, like a dormant landmine waiting to be triggered. And what triggers it? Anything acidic. That morning cup of coffee, that afternoon soda, the vinegar on your salad, the orange juice you thought was so healthy. Every time something acidic touches your throat, it wakes up the pepsin that's already living there. And this enzyme, now activated and confused, starts doing exactly what it was built to do: digest protein. But there's no food present. So what does it digest? The proteins of your own throat tissue. It literally begins consuming your cells at a microscopic level. Your body goes into full alarm mode. More mucus. Now, build a thicker shield. That is why the phlegm is so dense and sticky. That is why you wake up hoarse. Your vocal cords have been sitting in acid vapor all night. And that lump you feel in your throat? Pure inflammation. Now that you know your enemy, the entire objective changes. The goal is no longer to eliminate the phlegm. The real goal is to stop the reflux, neutralize the pepsin, and give your throat the chance it needs to finally heal. If this is starting to make sense of what you've been going through, please subscribe and hit the notification bell, because now that we've identified the enemy, we're moving to the most important part: the battle plan to defeat it. Forget magic remedies. What I'm about to share with you is an evidence-based, clinically grounded arsenal of strategies. These are habit changes that attack the root of the problem. I'm asking you to apply them with consistency. You don't have to do all of them at once, but the more you incorporate, the faster you will see results. Strategy number 1. Elevate the head of your bed. This is, without question, the single most important step you can take. When you sleep completely flat, you are creating a direct highway from your stomach to your throat. You need to create an incline. Raising the head of your bed by about 6 to 8 inches allows gravity to work in your favor all night. Now, this does not mean piling up pillows. That only bends your neck and can actually worsen reflux. You need to raise the entire upper half of your body. The best approach is placing wooden blocks or thick, sturdy books under the legs at the head of the bed. A wedge pillow is another excellent option. Strategy number 2. Sleep on your left side. This might sound like an odd tip, but it has real anatomical logic. Because of the shape of the stomach, lying on your left side keeps gastric contents lower and further from the valve. Sleeping on your right side, on the other hand, makes it easier for acid to escape, a small shift that makes a real difference. Strategy number 3, the 3-hour rule. Your stomach needs time to empty. If you eat dinner and lie down shortly after, you are setting yourself up for a rough night. Make this your golden rule. Finish your last meal of the day, snacks included, at least 3 hours before bed. Strategy number 4, keep dinner light. Dinner should be your lightest meal, not your heaviest. Large, fatty meals take much longer to digest. Opt for smaller dinners, lean proteins like chicken or fish, cooked vegetables, complex carbohydrates like quinoa or sweet potato. Avoid fried foods, creamy sauces, and heavy desserts in the evening. Strategy number 5, identify and eliminate your trigger foods. For at least 3 weeks, I recommend you eliminate or drastically reduce coffee and caffeinated teas, chocolate, carbonated beverages including sparkling water, alcohol, especially white wine, mint, and highly acidic foods, tomatoes, tomato sauces, citrus fruits, vinegars, and anything spicy or very fatty. Strategy number 6, hydrate smart. Staying well hydrated helps keep mucus more fluid, but don't drink large amounts of water all at once, especially with meals, because it overfills the stomach. Small, consistent sips throughout the day, between meals, that's the strategy. Strategy number 7, the strategic gargle. Mix half a teaspoon of baking soda into a glass of warm water. Gargle for about 30 seconds, especially first thing in the morning and after meals. Do not swallow it. The baking soda will help deactivate the pepsin and soothe the irritation in your throat. Strategy number 8, chew sugar-free gum after meals. Fruit-flavored, not mint. Chewing stimulates saliva production, and saliva is naturally alkaline. Each time you swallow it, you're helping to rinse and neutralize any acid that may have crept up. Just avoid mint. It relaxes the valve. Strategy number 9, soothing herbal teas. Chamomile tea is anti-inflammatory and calming, perfect for reducing irritation. Ginger tea is a powerful anti-inflammatory that also promotes healthy digestion. Brew it with fresh ginger root and a touch of honey if you like. Strategy number 10, manage your stress. Chronic stress directly increases stomach acid production. Finding ways to manage it is not a luxury, it is a medical necessity. Practice deep breathing, meditation, yoga, or simply give yourself 15 minutes a day doing something that genuinely relaxes you. Music, a walk, reading. I want to share a story about one of my patients, a 55-year-old radio broadcaster named Antonio, who had spent 2 full years struggling with hoarseness and phlegm that were threatening his entire career. When he committed to these measures, especially elevating his bed and following the 3-hour rule, within 1 month, his voice had improved by 80% and the phlegm had nearly disappeared. His problem was never in his vocal cords, it was in his habits. So here's the most important lesson of everything I've shared with you today. Stop fighting the phlegm. The phlegm is just the messenger. Start fighting the actual fire, the silent reflux. Once you understand that the real enemy is an acid vapor rising from your stomach, every single one of these strategies makes perfect sense. They are not random tips. They are precise, targeted moves to disarm the source of your suffering. If you apply these consistently, especially the nighttime measures and the dietary changes, you will start to notice a real difference. Your throat will finally have the opportunity to heal. The defensive mucus will decrease because your body will no longer need to produce it. You'll feel your throat open up. Your voice will come back. I know that's a number of changes, but start with just one or two. The most important one, raise the head of your bed tonight and don't eat late. With just those two adjustments alone, many of my patients report noticeable improvement within just a few days. The solution is in your hands, literally in your kitchen and your daily routine. You now have the knowledge, and you have the plan. If this video has helped you finally understand what's been going on in your body, the best way you can help me is by sharing it with that person in your life who is always clearing their throat, always complaining about something stuck back there. You could genuinely change their life. And tell me in the comments, which strategy are you going to start with today? I'll be reading every single one. Thank you so much for staying with me all the way to the end. I'll see you in the next one.